Let's do today's ship. Let's explain better what Ava Musateres is. In other words, so far we explained Ava Musateres in Yana is it's a connection to Hashem which is totally unreasonable, manifested in Emunah, Mesiras Nefesh. Can you explain better this whole process of what it means that a Yid has a connection to Hashem which is completely higher than reason? Look there, Tzadok Lavai, we have to explain how much it causes the pasuk. It says in the pasuk Neir Havaya Nishma Sada that the candle of Havaya, this is the soul of a person. Pirush says the Alter Rebbe, this means to say She Yisrael Akriyim, the Jewish people who are called Adam. Nishmasam, their souls, Hilu Mashal Keir Neir, is like the light of a candle. I want you to know there's tons of Maimorim on Neir Hashem Nishma Sada, in Chanukah especially, right? Kineir, Mitzvah, Teir, and so on. And the usual explanation is that a neshama is called a candle. It means a keli. You know, a keli has lanzish balaz. Remember the Maimorim? Lanzish, the French word. There's a cup. There's fuel. There's a wick. That's the neir. And the fire is oyer. So when they talk about neshamas, the mitzvahs are kelim, and the neshamas are kelim. When you learn the Maimorim, you'll see that the mitzvahs, one is shemen, and the one is shemen, and the other is the psila between neshamas and teira and mitzvahs. One is the wick and the other is the fuel. But the fire is teira. Here it says not like that. In this Perek Tanya, Perek Yitas, the neshama is compared to the fire itself, which is the kedusha or the ein sof, which is the sabish. The neshama by itself, the neshama is the creation. It's like a candle, a keli. But the kedusha, the ein sof, the chokhmah, which is inside the Yiddish neshama, this is the fire itself. What do we know about fire? Shemis nanei atomid lamayla is constantly flickering upwards. And this tendency to rise is b'tivya, it's a natural thing. Why does fire go up? Because the light of a fire, chafetz b'teva, desires by its nature. Notice again the use of the word nature. They parted now, sealed, separate from a wick. For the davik b'sharsha to become attached to its root lamayla on high. What is the physical source of physical fire? The general element of fire, which is beneath the spherical space in which the moon revolves. You have the earth, and you have the moon. The moon has a galgal. The moon has the space in which it spins around. And according to Teira, in fact, according to Teira, the moon is standing still. It's the galgal that rotates. It's the space that's moving, carrying the moon with it. Between the galgal of Yerech and the earth, there's emptiness. This emptiness is divided into four. The area closest to the earth is Ofa. The area above that is Mayim. The area above that is Ruach. And the area above that, which is closest to Galgal Yerech, is Eish. Obviously, it's not normal Eish Ruch Mayim Ofa, because it's empty space. It's a Ruchni is the type of a Gashmi. It's a Gashmi, but a Ruchni is a Gashmi. The highest of the four is Eish. Fire goes back to its source. Wind is not going back to its source. Water is not going back to its source. Earth is certainly not going back to its source. Physical fire wants to go back to its spiritual source because it's the most spiritual of the four elements and it feels its source. So he says it wants to be part of now to separate from the wick. For the davik b'shasha to attach itself to its root lamayla above, you say the eish element of fire, which is general, which is beneath the spherical space in which the moon revolves. When fire goes back to its source, it becomes ois mitzias, it becomes extinguished. Oire, it's light b'mitzias in its form, down here. And also b'shashi in its root, it becomes nothing. Afa became, nonetheless, betach hu chafet, this is desire. And the Alter Rebbe says for the third time now, b'tivei, its nature. So fire wants to go back to its source, that's A. It's going to lose its mitzias, that's B. The explanation for this is that it's its nature. Kach, now comes the nimshal. Nishma satan the neshama v'yid v'chebechid es ruach v'nefesh, even though it's ruach nefesh. In as much as the chokhmah is in it and the ein sof and lubish chokhmah is in it. Chefza v'cheshka, its desire and its longing. V'tiva, notice the word by nature again. By its nature is lipada to separate. V'otzes men haguf to go out of the guf. V'yudabik b'shasha maked to become attached with root and its source by the Shem and the Eibush, the Chayim Baruch Hu, who gives life to all living things. Blessed be He. Hagam, even though shetiya ayim ve'efes, it will become absolutely nothing. Ayin means non-existent as it existed in Hashem's thought. Efes means it existed before Hashem even thought about it. With this battle Hashem b'mitzias lagami will lose his mitzias altogether. V'leishoed mimena and will remain from it nothing. Mu'uma, nothing at all. Mimuhutza v'atzmus arishim, its earlier condition as a self-contained entity. My neshama and my guf, your neshama and your guf, and so forth. Nonetheless, this is his want and his desire. And here goes the word betiva for the fifth time. Betiva by its nature. Alter Rebbe uses 3 times the word teva in the mashal, 3 times the word teva in the nimshal. So let's go back to the nimshal. The Shom wants to go back to a source that's A. B, it's going to become ois mitzias. C, the only way to explain it is beteva. Why? Because there's a rule in common sense and in biology and in Teira that kol chai reitzeh b'kiyumim. Everything that exists wants to exist. Nothing wants to die. Because if something wanted to die, guess what? It would have died a long time ago. Any animal which likes to be eaten, hat man von Schlangov gegessen. Right? Survival is based on will. Here you have a fire that wants to disappear. Okay, but fire you can say has no soul, even though apitated it does. But on a Shabbat and a Shabbat wants to commit suicide. Says the Alter Rebbe, the answer is it's not logical. V'teva zeh, this use of the word teva, that the neshama wants to go away and disappear. Who shema mushal is a borrowed term. L'chol davar sheni bechinas tam v'nas. Anything which has no reason and any explanation. Because v'gam kan here also, the idea is sharatzon v'chayfet zeh benefesh. This will and desire in the neshama to go back to Hashem and lose its identity ain't bechinas tam v'das v'seichel muslig moving. It's not something that has a reason and can be understood and has a basis which is intellectually reachable and comprehensible. Why uses 5 words? Tam, das, seichel, musik, moving, homework. It's above understanding and wisdom that can be intellectually reached and understood. It's the chokhmah in the neshama. Shabbat, Ein Sof Baruch Hu, in which the Ein Sof rests. This chokhmah, which is in the neshama, where the Ein Sof rests, gives a neshama a tendency to want to go away from becoming attached to the Eibishter.